Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Renu Kataria and with me is R.S. Raghu bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. International Day of Yoga being celebrated across the world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says Yoga is not for India alone but for entire humanity. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to hold bilateral talks with his Australian counterpart in New Delhi on Wednesday to strengthen defence cooperation. India's Prime Minister to attend 14th BRICS Summit hosted by China on 24th and 23rd of this month. BJP-led NDA announces Draupadi Murmu name as India's presidential candidate for upcoming elections, former Minister Yashwant Sinha to be opposition party's candidate. Senior diplomat Ruchira Kamboj appointed as next ambassador and permanent representative of India to the United Nations. Baloch group protest in front of UN office in Geneva to highlight atrocities committed by Pakistan on Baloch people. And Hockey India announces 18-member men's squad for Commonwealth Games 2022. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the 8th edition of International Day of Yoga in the heritage city of Mysuru in front of the iconic Mysuru Palace on 21st June. On the occasion, the Prime Minister said Yoga is not for India alone but for entire humanity.
इस बार अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस की थीम है योगा फॉर ह्यूमैनिटी। मैं इस थीम के जरिए योग के इस संदेश को पूरी मानवता तक पहुंचाने के लिए यूनाइटेड नेशंस का और सभी देशों का हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं। साथियों, योग के लिए हमारे महर्षियों ने, हमारे आचार्यों ने कहा है शांतिम योगेन विन्दति। It means yoga brings peace for us. The peace from yoga is not only for individuals. Yoga brings peace to our society, to our nations and the world. And yoga brings peace to our universe.
Mr. Modi asserted that yoga is not merely for individuals, but it brings peace to our universe. He said yoga is a holistic approach to health and well-being for mind, body and soul. He emphasized the need to realize the unlimited possibilities of yoga. He pointed out that yoga is a process that leads one from inner peace to realize universal peace. The Prime Minister said yoga takes one from awareness of the self to consciousness of the world. Yoga is a great problem solver. It can change our lifestyle. Yoga helps us to orient our mind towards problem solving, be it climate change or international conflict.
Yoga makes us conscious of everything within us and builds a sense of awareness. It starts with self-awareness and proceeds to awareness of the world. When we become aware of ourselves and our world, we begin to spot things that need to be changed, both in ourselves and in the world.
Mr. Modi said the world has now realized the benefits of yoga as it has provided a window to the spiritual growth of mankind. He thanked the United Nations and other countries for participating in the International Day of Yoga. This year, International Day of Yoga 2022 saw many new initiatives. The Guardian Ring program, which is a collaborative exercise between 79 countries and United Nations organizations, along with Indian missions abroad, illustrates yoga's unifying power that surpasses national boundaries. In today's Hotspot section, we bring you a special program on AIR News exclusive International Day of Yoga 2022 celebrations abroad.
several events are being held across the world to mark the International Day of Yoga. Around 80 Indian missions and embassies around the world have organized yoga events under the program The Guardian Ring. It is showing images of people doing yoga when the sun rises in their countries. It highlights One Sun, One Earth concept and showcases the unifying power of yoga. The celebration started from Japan, the land of the rising sun, with the Indian tradition of Surya Namaskar. In China, the Indian Embassy in Beijing held many programs in the run-up to International Day of Yoga 2022. As part of this, yoga teacher in China, Mohan Bhandari, conducted a session on pranayam at the Embassy Cultural Center.
Om Mitraya Namaha, Om Ravaye Namaha, Om Suryaya Namaha, Om Bhanave Namaha, Om Khagaya Namaha, Om Pushne Namaha, Om Hiranyagarbhaya Namaha, Om Marishaye Namaha, Om Adityaya Namaha, Om Savitre Namaha, Om Arkaya Namaha, Om Bhaskaraya Namaha.
Indian Consulate in Guangzhou joined the Guardian Ring for Yoga to celebrate the International Day of Yoga. Consul General of India in Guangzhou, Shambhu Haki, and hundreds of yoga enthusiasts joined the event. Indian Consulate in Shanghai also organized a yoga event in Yiwu, Zhejiang Province. A report from our Beijing correspondent.
Indian Consulate in Guangzhou organized International Day of Yoga celebrations at Haishang Pearl Wisdom Park, located at the foot of Luoxi Bridge at the south bank of the Pearl River. The yoga protocol was conducted by Iyengar Yogshala to hundreds of yoga lovers from different nationalities who gathered near the iconic Pearl Tower to inhabit the common consciousness of yoga. Indian Embassy has already held a grand yoga event in Beijing on Saturday, which was joined virtually by the consulates in Guangzhou, Shanghai and Hong Kong. In the run-up to this day, the embassy and various Indian consulates in China have held many yoga events. To celebrate the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, more than 75 yoga schools across China besides Indian consulates were also connected online to the Saturday's event at the India House in Beijing. Anshuman Mishra, All India Radio, Beijing.
The Indian Embassy arranged a mass yoga session at the iconic Washington Monument on Saturday, ahead of the International Day of Yoga. Hundreds of people attended the event. The Permanent Mission of India to the UN had planned a Yoga Day celebration at the North Lawn of UN headquarters in New York, featuring a lecture and yoga demonstration. A digital exhibition titled The World of Yoga will also be up on display at the UN delegates' entrance until 1st of July. In Nepal, the International Day of Yoga was also celebrated in capital Kathmandu, where Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba highlighted the message of Yoga for Humanity. Minister for Communication and Information Technology, Gyanendra Bahadur Karki, also took part in the event and encouraged all to make yoga a part of life. A function was also organized by the Swami Vivekanand Cultural Center under the Indian Mission in Nepal on Monday evening. International Day of Yoga was celebrated by all diplomatic offices in Sri Lanka under the Guardian Ring. The celebrations in Colombo were held at Independence Square and was attended by Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe along with ministers and parliamentarians. Introducing the crowd to basic asanas, breathing exercises and meditation, the session helped the participants get an experience of uniting the body with the mind. Programs were also held at the iconic Gal Fort and Jaffna Cultural Center by the Indian Consulate General. A series of yoga events across Sri Lanka were held in the run-up to the International Day of Yoga over the past few days by the High Commission in Colombo, Consulate General of India in Jaffna, Consulate General of India in Hambantota, and the Assistant High Commission of India in Kandy. The 8th International Day of Yoga was celebrated in Bangladesh with large-scale participation of people from all walks of life. In Dhaka, the High Commission of India organized a program at the Mirpur Indoor Stadium where more than 1,000 participants took part in the event. The High Commission involved several yoga associations of Dhaka to volunteer in the event. At the start of the program, High Commissioner Vikram Duraisamy welcomed the participants to the International Day of Yoga event. Recalling the ancient wisdom of India that desires happiness for everybody, High Commissioner Duraisamy said that yoga is for everybody. Several celebrities from Bangladesh took part in the event at the Mirpur Indoor Stadium. It included Bangladesh national women's cricket team member Jahanara Alam, actors Zakia Bari Mamo, Bidya Sinha Meem, Aman Raza, Tareen Jahan, women's weightlifting champion of South Asian Games Mabia Akhtar, and Bangladesh national cricket team member Soumya Sarkar. The Assistant High Commissions of India at Chattogram, Sylhet, Rajshahi and Khulna also organized programs to mark the 8th International Day of Yoga. The Art of Living Foundation Bangladesh and other socio-cultural organizations in Dhaka organized several events on the occasion of International Day of Yoga. The Gandhi Ashram at Jamalpur and Noakhali also organized Yoga Day-related programs. More from our Dhaka correspondent.
The 8th International Yoga Day was celebrated in Bangladesh with enthusiastic participation of people. In Dhaka, more than 1,000 people participated in the event organized by the High Commission of India. Several celebrities took part in the Yoga Day program. The celebrities included Bangladesh national women's cricket team member Jahanara Alam, actress Zakia Bari Mamo, Aman Raza, Tareen Jahan, women's weightlifting champion Mabia Akhtar, and Bangladesh national cricket team member Soumya Sarkar. The Art of Living Foundation Bangladesh, the Gandhi Ashram at Jamalpur and Noakhali also organized Yoga Day related programs. Rajesh Jha, AIR News, Dhaka.
Guyana President Muhammad Irfan Ali said, yoga improves human well-being as force of good in promoting social harmony and goodwill. He encouraged all Guyanese to discover its range of benefits.
The Cooperative Republic of Guyana is pleased to join the rest of the world in this year's observance of International Yoga Day. The physical, mental and spiritual benefits of yoga are indisputable. Yoga improves human well-being and is a force of good in promoting social harmony and goodwill. I encourage all Guyanese to discover the range of benefits that can be derived from yoga. May this timeless practice help us to remember to live in harmony with nature and with our fellow brothers and sisters. My best wishes are extended for the successful observance of International Yoga Day.
The President of the Republic of Mauritius, Prithvi Raj Singh Rupun, also joined yoga enthusiasts of Mauritius for the practice. With a report of Paris Chauhan, this was Zaira Mushtaba for World News, All India Radio.
Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said he is happy to see the Deputy Prime Minister and the Defence Minister of Australia, Richard Marles, doing yoga on the International Day of Yoga. In a tweet, Mr. Singh said his participation in the Yoga Day program makes these celebrations remarkable and special. Mr. Singh will hold bilateral talks with Richard Marles in New Delhi tomorrow. During the bilateral talks, the two ministers will review the defence cooperation between the two countries and explore new initiatives to further strengthen bilateral engagements. They will also exchange views on regional and global issues of shared interest. Mr. Marles reached Goa on Monday on the first leg of his 4-day visit to India. India and Australia share a comprehensive strategic partnership since June 2020, and defence is a key pillar of this partnership. The partnership is based on a shared vision of free, open, inclusive and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. The two democracies have a common interest in peace and prosperity of the entire region. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar today met with Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister of Australia Richard Marles. In a tweet today, Dr. Jaishankar said India and Australia agreed on the importance of strengthening strategic partnership to effectively address contemporary challenges. He said growing security cooperation has been a key facet of expanding ties between the two countries. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the 14th BRICS Summit hosted by China on 23rd and 24th of this month. The summit will be held in virtual format under the theme of Foster High-Quality BRICS Partnership, usher in a new era for global development. The External Affairs Ministry said BRICS has become a platform for discussing and deliberating on issues of common concern for all developing countries. During the 14th BRICS Summit, deliberations are expected to be held in areas like terrorism, trade, health, traditional medicine, environment, science and technology, innovation, agriculture, technical and vocational education and training, and micro, small and medium enterprises. Discussions are also likely to be held on issues like reform of the multilateral system, combating COVID-19 pandemic and global economic recovery. BRICS countries have regularly called for reform of the multilateral system in order to make it more representative and inclusive. Prior to the summit, Prime Minister Modi will also deliver a keynote speech virtually in the opening ceremony of the BRICS Business Forum on Wednesday. Former Jharkhand Governor Draupadi Murmu will be BJP-led NDA candidate for the presidential polls of India. Briefing media after the BJP Parliamentary Board meeting in New Delhi on Tuesday, Party Chief JP Nadda said, for the first time, preference has been given to a woman tribal candidate. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed confidence that NDA presidential candidate Draupadi Murmu will be a great president of India. Mr. Modi said she devoted her life to serving society, empowering poor, downtrodden, marginalized, and she has rich administrative experience and had an outstanding gubernatorial tenure. Former Union Minister Yashwant Sinha will be the opposition's candidate for presidential election. In a joint statement, the opposition party said they have taken a unanimous decision on Mr. Sinha's candidature. NCP Chief Sharad Pawar informed that Mr. Sinha will file his nomination on the 27th of this month.
Senior diplomat Ruchira Kamboj has been appointed as the next ambassador and permanent representative of India to the United Nations. A 1987 batch Indian Foreign Service officer, Ruchira Kamboj, is presently serving as ambassador of India to Bhutan. She will succeed T.S. Tirumurti as the Indian ambassador to the United Nations. Ministry of External Affairs said Ruchira Kamboj is expected to take up the assignment shortly. The Baloch Voice Association organized an exhibition cum demonstration on June 20th in front of the United Nations office in Geneva alongside the broken chair sculpture to highlight the atrocities being committed by the Pakistan establishment on the Baloch people. They also highlighted the all-round adverse impact of the Chinese executed and financed China-Pakistan Economic Corridor CPEC. The demonstration, which started on June 20th, will continue till June 22nd. It will culminate with a memorandum being handed over to the Human Rights Council HRC and various diplomatic missions. According to the Human Rights Council of Balochistan, during the month of December 2021, more than 63 people were abducted or missing, while 37 were killed.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will be on a 4-day visit to Kigali, Rwanda from Wednesday to attend the 26th Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, SHOGM. He will be leading the Indian delegation to the SHOGM, which had earlier been postponed twice due to COVID-19 pandemic. The theme of the summit is Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming. During the meeting, the leaders of the Commonwealth member states are scheduled to deliberate on issues of global challenges like climate change, food security and health issues. The Commonwealth provides an important platform to deepen India's engagement with Commonwealth members, in particular the small states and small island developing states. India is also one of the largest contributors to the Commonwealth and has assisted the organization with technical assistance and capacity building. During the visit, Dr. Jaishankar is expected to hold several bilateral meetings with his counterparts from Commonwealth member states and other visiting dignitaries. He will also interact with members of the Indian community at a reception to be hosted by the Indian High Commission in Kigali. Imports from China's Xinjiang region have been banned in the United States from Monday as new rules came into force. Under the regulations, firms will have to prove imports from the region are not produced using forced labor. U.S. officials have said members of the minority Uyghur community in the region, who are predominantly Muslim, have been detained and made to work. China has repeatedly rejected accusations that it is holding Uyghurs in internment camps in Xinjiang. Several imports from the resource-rich region, including cotton and tomatoes, have already been banned from the US. The restrictions will be extended to all imports under the Uyghur Forced Labour Prevention Act, UFLPA, which is scheduled to take effect on today. According to the US Congress, China has detained more than 1 million Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities in Xinjiang since April 2017. It is believed tens of thousands of detainees have worked at a fraction of minimum wage or without any compensation in Xinjiang and other provinces under the guise of poverty alleviation and industrial aid programs.
In Sri Lanka, the government has amended the minimum age limit for women leaving for foreign employment as domestic aides to 21 years of age. The decision was announced at the weekly cabinet meeting. Local media reports the government said current employment age for women to leave Saudi Arabia is 25 years and 23 years in other West Asia countries. The minimum age limit announced as 21 for the rest of the Middle East countries other than Saudi Arabia. Hockey India has announced 18-member Indian men's hockey squad for Commonwealth Games 2022. Commonwealth Games are scheduled to begin on 29th July in Birmingham. India is in Pool B with England, Canada, Wales and Ghana. India will begin their campaign on the 31st of July against Ghana. Indian women's hockey team defeated the USA 4-2 in the first match of the final doubleheader of FIH Pro League 2021-22 at Rotterdam, Netherlands a short while ago. Indian women Deep Grace Eka scored the first goal in the 31st, while Navneet Kaur in 32nd minute. Sonika in the 40th and Vandana Kataria struck the goal in the 50th minute. For USA, Daniela Grega struck the goal in 28th minute, while Natalie Coneth found the net in 45th minute. With 3 points from the match, India remained third in FIH Pro League standings, amassing 27 points from 13 games. USA, on the other hand, are at the bottom with 5 points. India will play their last match of the FIH Pro League 2021-22 season against USA on Wednesday before heading to the World Cup and the Commonwealth Games next month.
The Sensex and the Nifty today surged around 2%. Both stock indices climbed amid positive global cues. The Sensex closed above the 52,500 mark. The Nifty ended above 15,600 level. A report from the business desk.
The Sensex climbed 934 points or 1.81% to finish at 52,532. The Nifty also gained 289 points or 1.88% to settle at 15,639. At global stock markets, Asian stocks rebounded and the safe haven dollar came down as investors bought stocks at attractive prices after a steep sell-off in previous weeks. However, investors remained cautious amid concerns about aggressive interest rate hikes by central banks in many countries and risks of a global recession. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index rose 1.9% and Japan's Nikkei gained 1.8%. South Korea's Kospi climbed 0.8% and Singapore's Straits Times rose 0.6%. China's Shanghai Composite Index fell marginally by 0.3%. European shares followed gains in intraday trade. The Brent crude prices rose around 2%. In intraday trade, Brent crude was trading at $116.20 per barrel. And in the forex market, the rupee weakened 10 paise against the US dollar. The domestic currency closed at 78 rupees and 8 paise against the American unit. Rajesh Lake for World News, All India Radio.
The Canadian government is going to ban companies from importing or making plastic bags and styrofoam takeout containers by the end of this year. The country is also banning their sale by the end of next year and their export by the end of 2025. Canadian Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault announced the dates Monday. Canada previously announced a ban on plastic. However, environment advocates were dismayed about delays. In addition to bags and takeout boxes, the ban will affect plastic straws, bags, cutlery, stir sticks and six-pack rings that hold cans and bottles. The federal government listed plastics as toxics under the Canadian Environmental Protection Act last year. However, a consortium of plastic producers is suing the government over the toxics designation in a case expected to be heard later this year. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau first promised in June 2019 that his government would phase out the production and use of hard-to-recycle plastic items as it aims for zero plastic waste by the end of the decade. Initially, he said the ban would happen in 2021, but the scientific assessment of plastics that was needed to put the ban in motion was delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. First, we have a look at the press reports on China. Prasar Bharati Beijing reports Indian consulate in Guangzhou joined Government of India's initiative of Guardian Ring for Yoga to celebrate 8th International Day of Yoga.
HT reports, quoting Singapore Foreign Minister Vivian Balakrishnan, that no good outcome can arise from an India-China conflict.
Reuters reports the unemployment crisis of 2022 could be the worst since the founding of the People's Republic in 1949.
Nippon.com reports Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is planning to hold a four-way summit with South Korean, Australian and New Zealand leaders when he visits Madrid to attend a NATO summit from June 29, government sources revealed on Monday.
Reuters reports China's crude oil imports from Russia soared 55% from a year earlier to a record level in May, displacing Saudi Arabia as the top supplier.
And press reports on Nepal. Khabar Hub writes that China is making investments in Nepali media in a bid to be a dominant power in Nepal.
Kathmandu Post reports that Nepal Oil Corporation has hiked the price of petrol by 21 rupees and diesel by 26 rupees. Himalayan Times reports that price of aviation turbine fuel has also been hiked, but the price of LPG would remain the same.
Rising Nepal reports that price hike issued rocked the House of Representatives and lawmakers decreed the exorbitant hike in fuel prices.
Khabar Hub reports that Chinese products have gained a reputation of poor quality in Nepal.
Khabar Hub also reports that the government has decided to inform the United States that it would withdraw from the US's State Partnership Program, SPP.
Now let's have a look at the press reports from Balochistan. The Balochistan Post reports that female human rights activists and members of Karachi Civil Society held a joint press conference at Karachi Press Club on Monday. They expressed concerns over the police brutality against the families of Baloch missing persons in front of the Sindh Assembly.
The Balochistan Post reports that it has been 4,678 days since the hunger strike camp for the recovery of Baloch forcibly disappeared persons.
Now let's have a look at the press reports from Pakistan. Frontier Post reports that President Dr. Arif Alvi has refused to approve the NAB Amendment Bill 2022 and has sent it back to the Prime Minister without signing it.
Dawn, in an opinion piece, writes that the confluence of polarized politics and economic turmoil is making Pakistan unforgivable. 21st June is World Music Day. It is a day to encourage young and amateur musicians to perform. More than 120 countries, including India, Italy, Greece, Russia, Australia, Brazil, Canada, the United States, commemorate this day as people organize free public concerts in parks, stadiums and public places, mostly for music lovers and learners. This year's theme for World Music Day is Music on the Intersections. And now a quick look at the headlines once again. International Day of Yoga being celebrated across the world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says yoga is not for India alone but for entire humanity. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh to hold bilateral talks with his Australian counterpart in New Delhi on Wednesday to strengthen defence cooperation. India's Prime Minister to attend 14th BRICS Summit hosted by China on 23rd and 24th of this month. BJP-led NDA announces Draupadi Murmu's name as India's presidential candidate for upcoming elections. Former Minister Yashwant Sinha to the opposition party's candidate. Senior diplomat Ruchira Kamboj appointed as next ambassador and permanent representative of India to the United Nations. Baloch group protest in front of UN office in Geneva to highlight atrocities committed by Pakistan on the Baloch people. And Hockey India announces 18-member men's squad for Commonwealth Games 2022. Indian women's hockey team beats USA 4-2 in first match of final doubleheader of FIH Pro League 2021-22 at Rotterdam. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Cyprus. And with that, we end this bulletin. We will be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.